Hi, so this is John again. So today I thought we'd talk about something that everybody struggles with, time management. Which is really strange because all of us have got 24 hours in a day. Then why then do some people do so much more within the 24 hours than the rest of us? Well, I'm going to give you 3 pointers for today. First, prioritize. Understanding what your priorities are is critical in order for you to be able to manage your time properly. Now, in our programs called Managing Priorities, we teach a concept called the rock jar theory. And the theory is really simple. So imagine that your day is a jar, a glass jar. And within that jar, you've got to fill in all the stones and rocks and sand that you've got to fill in a day. Most people make the mistake of filling in sand first and then try to stuff the rocks in later. This never works. What does it represent? Well, sand basically represents all the unimportant stuff and all the little nitty-gritty things that we tend to do on a daily basis that doesn't really bring us any value. The real thing that you've got to do is to put in the rocks and the stones first, the big important stuff. The things that helps you get to where you want to go, maybe not today, but tomorrow, the day after, and the next years, and so on and so forth. What are the really important stuff? So you've got to be able to differentiate what's important from what's not, which leads us to point number 2, skill sets. Now, it's only logical that people who are more skillful at doing a certain thing will be able to do it in a shorter, faster, better way. So if you want to save time, you got to be good at what you want to do. So how do you become good at what you want to do? Well, in simple terms, being good has got to be one of the rocks that you put in the rock jar. How much time do you spend getting better at a job that you do versus just spending time doing that job? So the irony is that people don't spend time building skill sets that helps them save time in the long term. And the last point that I'd like to share with you today is probably a little bit controversial. A lot of people advise that in order to save time, you've got to learn to multitask, which is traditionally learning to do 2 or 3 things at the same time. Well, my take on that is that you shouldn't try to do 2 or 3 things at the same time, or even do one thing while thinking of something else. This usually results in maybe completing it a little bit faster, but usually in a lower level of quality, which then requires you to come back and revisit it at another point in time, i.e., waste time. So instead of trying to do 2 things at the same time, focus 100% of your efforts and concentration on completing one thing at a time. That way you can finish it off, clear it faster, refocus on the next thing, and that will get you better quality. So I would say that the only time it's safe to multitask would be when doing things that don't require a lot of thought process. It doesn't require a lot of thinking. You can basically do those things on autopilot. So be very careful when multitasking.